But to this now, for some reaction on the passing of Namibia's first democratically elected president, Dr Sam Nujoma, we're now joined by the ANC spokesperson Mahlengi Bhengu-Motsiri. Mahlengi, good evening. Thank you so much for your time. Really appreciate it. From the 1960s, SWAPO played an important role, not just in the liberation of the people of Southwest Africa, ultimately becoming Namibia, but also ultimately for the people of Southern Africa, including being a partner in arms with the ANC. Talk to us about what the role was that Dr. Nujoma played in the movement at the time and what the ANC will miss and remember about him.
He will certainly be remembered for the role he played among a generation that pursued anti-coloniality, among a generation that dedicated themselves to the freedom struggle, among a generation that understood that the liberation of South Africa was intertwined with that of Namibia, formerly Southwest Africa, and many other parts of the continent. He represented what should be our rallying call for African unity, our rallying call to continue fighting against the remnants of colonialism that we still experience. He will be remembered as the father of the nation in Namibia, the father of democracy in our continent. He is a recipient of one of South Africa's national orders, the Order of the Companions of Oliver Tambo. For he worked side by side with the late Oliver Tambo and many other of that generation to ensure that apartheid is brought to an end and to ensure that we can claim our place among the community of nations as a liberated South Africa and a liberated Namibia.
Yeah, interestingly, and this conversation is happening at a very interesting time. In the early 2000s, Dr. Nujoma, as president of Namibia at the time, had advocated for land reform, but was the first to delineate land reform as he espoused and imagined it in Namibia to be different from that as having happened in Zimbabwe at the time under the Mugabe administration. And that was an important distinction in the region at the time. But the conversation about land reform being so topical in South Africa, so volatile, but also flammable in South Africa and the world over, means that we have to draw from lessons of the earlier leaders in early days and early times who traversed these difficult terrains and conversations earlier. What are some of the lessons the ANC is drawing there from?
Well, certainly. I mean, I think it's actually quite interesting that his passing, which we remarked last week as the ANC, when he was still in hospital, but did remark about the fact that the big debate that is taking place, the big conversation that is taking place in South Africa around the issue of land justice is not a new issue. And in fact, what you are referencing is a testament to the fact that this is a historic struggle. And that is why it must not be perceived as a struggle that is new and as something that aims to oppress one group over the other, but that it forms part, it's a continuum in ensuring that there is total liberation and total inequality, among those countries that suffered colonial oppression and imperialism, such as South Africa, such as Namibia, such as many other parts of Zimbabwe and many other parts of our continent. And that is why when we approach this discussion about the land justice, and we approach the discussion about the Expropriation Act, we should not be ahistorical, as we have witnessed from the utterances, from the behavior and the rogue behavior of Afriforum that seeks to polarize South Africans around the land issue. The truth of the matter is that no true liberation can be spoken of for as long as people are landless and are oppressed as a result of landlessness. For as long as the state cannot lay claim to the land that is required for the purposes of pursuing development. And so it is important, and I think the parallels that you are drawing are important. Yeah. And of course, there will be different models from one country to the next. But I think the importance of resolving the land question cannot be postponed any longer.
Yeah, this is a parenthetical question, Mahlengi, but an important one nonetheless. And I appreciate that you mentioned and described to us what the ANC imagines the behavior of Afriforum to have been. Does the ANC believe that some action whether criminal, civil, sanctioning, or a declaration of treasonous behavior on part of the state, should that be meted upon Afriforum? Does the ANC believe that Afriforum and the governing party and the governing structures should engage in ongoing dialogue? Or is there some sort of sanction towards the behavior of Afriforum that you think might be appropriate?
Well, we have called for total isolation of the Afriforum.
What does that mean?
As long as they pursue the views that they are pursuing. We will leave that to the government and to all other actors in South Africa. It's not an ANC matter alone, because what Afriforum has done has actually been to bring our country in to dispute and to undermine our national sovereignty and to actually soil the project of building national unity. So yes, South Africans must rise and protect this sacrosanct process of building national unity that has taken a lot to come to a point where we are in South Africa today. So as the ANC, we believe that they have to be held accountable for the damage that they have caused internationally and the damage that they've caused here in South Africa, in undermining all efforts at building social cohesion and unity that we so require for development to take place.
Do you have a sense of what you mean by total isolation?
Well, we need to isolate their views. They need to be called out for what they are, because they themselves are backtracking precisely because they know that the disinformation campaign that has been run, they're now even distancing themselves from some of those actions. But I think South Africans are not fooled by that. And it is upon South Africans that have got to be called to actually call on government to do what is necessary when we have right-wing organizations that are seeking to destabilize the democracy that is fragile, that has got to be fought for.
Yeah, just a yes or no answer on this, because we are out of time. Gayton McKenzie of the Patriotic Alliance the other day had referred to Afriforum as a terrorist organization. Is that a view you agree with as the ANC?
Well, we will call them, we characterize them as a counter-revolutionary organization. We characterize them as a right-wing formation to the very far left. That is the characterization we've always given a body such as Afriforum.
Okay, Mahlengi, thank you so much for your time. Really do appreciate it. Mahlengi Bhengu-Motsiri is the national spokesperson of the ANC.